Hello everybody, Chad Helmcamp here with BWC Lending, and this is episode 1 of Chatting with Cory Mortgage and Chad. We're not real sure about the name just yet, so if you've got a better idea, comment below.
All right, Chad, we've written down a few questions, and I actually have a bonus question. That is not on this piece of paper, but
Do I get points for the bonus question?
yes.
Okay, good.
And we're gonna start by asking you some real estate mortgage related questions.
Okay.
Chad, my first question to you: how often do you hear, "I don't need a realtor," or "realtors provide no value"?
It's a great question, Cory, and it definitely is something I hear on occasion, but I will say fortunately I don't hear it a lot. Primary reason is a lot of our business comes from the agents we work with, so that's nice. So most of our clients are already working with a real estate agent, but I do get the buyer the do-it-yourselfer that thinks that they can do it themselves and they need that the realtor provides no value, which always perplexes me, because I can just tell you that in my experience, 9 out of 10 times when there are no agents involved, the transaction is incredibly bumpy. It's usually more costly because, of course, no buyer have any idea how to price a house and what it's really worth, and that's where the agents come into play. I will tell you that 9 out of 10 times when those clients come to me and they don't have an agent, I have to do the job of the real estate agent, which I'm not licensed to do, and it just makes the process go a lot longer. So it's funny to me when people think that, because I just don't see it, and my firsthand experience is that's just not the case. So fortunately it doesn't happen a lot, but we probably get a couple of transactions a year like that.
That was really well said. Would you say that have you heard that maybe by not having a realtor represent them as a buyer, oh well, now the seller doesn't have to pay the realtor's commission, so in their mind they think that they're doing a service to the seller?
Yeah, I think sometimes they think they're going to get a better deal because the seller doesn't have to pay a real estate agent commission. But like I just said, everything I said before is absolutely accurate. I don't think that they save any money, and I would bet the majority of the time, very few dollars are saved, and there's certainly a lot more stress and headache in the transaction because there's nobody to guide them through the process, and they don't know what the process is. They have no idea. Don't know how to fill out the contract. Don't know how to protect themselves. That's my favorite part, is when I get these contracts filled out by people that don't know how to fill them out, and they're totally exposed and they have no idea.
Good points. So I think, in summary, what are we trying to tell the audience?
Well, I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? Like if you're looking to buy a house and you want to buy a house, hire a professional. Hire somebody, talk to your friends, talk to your family, see what agents they've worked with, and find one that you have a good connection with. We have a lot of great agents we work with. If you've got questions and you need a good referral, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to connect you with somebody.
Okay, let me jump into the second one. What have you done in the last few years, or what have you done to change, or what has changed in your business over the last few years?
In my business, I mean, for me, the biggest change was, having been in the mortgage business for 20 years, was just going out on my own and starting a small mortgage company here where we have the ability to both broker as well as bank loans, which is a little different from the consumer perspective. It just gives our clients more options. We have more lenders to work with. The process has been a whole lot smoother. I'd say that's been the biggest difference. And then, of course, building out my team. We have lovely Chris here, who is helping us with this fantastic social media. I feel like we've made some really good decisions over the last couple of years, added you to the team. And so, I'd say those are the biggest changes that we've made, and so far so good. It's been great.
For some reason, I probably didn't ask the question great, but maybe I should have been more specific, like in marketing. How's your marketing plan, or what has surprised you about social media?
Well, all of it. It's I was just talking to Chris about this today. The evolution of social media is very overwhelming. It's changing all the time. She sent us the article at the end of the year talking about Instagram going away, and no, it's not going away yet. But it seems like all these social medias have a life cycle, and eventually they just sort of become more passé and nobody cares about them. So it just tells you that you've got to always be evolving and constantly changing and making sure that you're staying on top of the latest trends. Chris does a great job with that. I'm not so great at it. You and I would be terrible if she wasn't here doing this.
Yeah, we looked at a chart, Chad and I saw something on LinkedIn, and it was like a snapshot, a graph that was ever changing, and it started from 1994 to I think 2020. What were the most used search engines from the very beginning? And I think Yahoo, probably said that wrong.
Yahoo.
That was listed number one, back in 1994, and to watch the evolution of where we are in 2020, that's where the video stopped. The top engine is obviously Google, but it was neat to watch as we got closer, like into the mid 2000s, it was first MySpace, and then it was Facebook, and now I think Facebook is still the king of social media. No, YouTube. YouTube is the number 2 search, or the number 2 engine behind Google in, I guess, searches.
Yeah.
And then for a time period it was MySpace, and then Facebook overtook it. Now MySpace obviously
AOL.
is out of the picture. AOL. But now you have Twitter, I think, is in the top 5. Instagram's just outside of the top 5. Obviously Facebook and YouTube being in the top 5. It's I don't know.
It's fascinating to watch.
It really is. So you did a video, I think, with Haley that you kind of did a market prediction or a crystal ball, and I think that was maybe given over a certain month, or I don't remember. I should probably go back and verse myself on that video. But what in 2023 do you have market predictions? What are you thinking is going to happen?
Market predictions. My crystal ball. We'll pull it out again. I think the really fascinating part is if you go back to 2022 and you look at all of the things that were predicted in 2022, most of the experts were very, very, very wrong. So predictions, I don't know that are worth a whole lot. But everything that I read and everything that I focus on is sort of anticipating this to be another challenging year in the real estate world. The number of transactions are expected to be much less this year than the last several years. I think it looks like, from a transactional standpoint, it looks like it's going to mirror more like 2018. So we're going to see fewer real estate transactions. Where are mortgage rates going to go? That's the $1 million question. Right now, they're hovering in kind of the low 6s for the most part. Occasionally, you might get in the top 5s. My thoughts is that most of this year, rates are going to trade between 5.5 and 6.5. And my gut says that at the end of this year, we'll be more in that 5.5 range. The Mortgage Bankers Association is calling for next year, 2024, for rates to drop to 4.5. So they're calling for 5.5 this year, 4.5 next year. I think the sooner we get to 5.5, the better year we'll have. But right now, it seems like there's still quite a bit of inflationary pressure. So I think the first quarter is going to be a little challenging, but I think we're already starting to see some activity. I think the one really great thing about living in this country is we are a very impatient society. And so for people who want to buy a home, they're only going to wait so long. And so if they can afford to do it, they're going to do it. And so I think that we're having great weather right now for January. My thoughts is that if we have a really nice spring, I think we're going to have a really busy buying season, a little bit better than the experts are predicting.
Well, I think that would be a good sign for everybody involved in real estate. So I
Absolutely.
hope your crystal ball is correct.
Me too.
Okay, so moving on, let's do something a little more fun here. Do you wish your name wasn't Chad?
No, I'm comfortable with my name, Chad. I feel like it's a loaded question, though. Where is this going?
I don't know when this happened, but all of a sudden, if you were being someone who wasn't overly nice, you were called a Chad. And so I was just curious if that's ever bothered you.
I've never heard that.
You've never heard like if you're like broing out or
You've never
like
seen like the Chad face on TikTok?
No.
What?
I've heard the
man.
Karen, but I've never heard the Chad.
So Chad
the equivalent?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why am I just now learning?
We're gonna have to show him
I know.
something.
Wait, do you have your phone? Do you have your phone, Cory?
Yeah.
Here, I'll put the Chad face on TikTok. That's the Chad face. You've never seen that?
No.
Look, people do this all the time. There's even a filter called the Chad face.
On TikTok.
Uh-huh.
It kind of looks like Chad, honestly.
I can't believe you've never seen that.
I've never heard this.
Okay, now that you've heard this information, are you still okay with Chad?
Look, I'm a little disturbed. I'm going to need some time to process this. It's sort of worked well for me. This is probably you may be familiar with this, you may not be, but my name became famous back for when George W. was running for office, and the election was really tight between he and Gore, and they had to do the recount. And have you heard the term hanging Chad? You? No? Wow. Okay. You guys are really young. Got it. So you know how, you won't know this because you never knew, but back in the day when you would take certain tests that you would have, like, at one point they were called Scantrons where you would pencil it in. Well, even the more archaic version of that was you had to punch through a piece of paper, okay? And then the piece of paper should fall off in the back. Well, the hanging Chad is the piece of paper that's hanging onto the piece of paper. Like, it doesn't come all the way, doesn't fall off. So hanging Chad became very popular as a result of the election.
Maybe this is like what the whole Chad, like the
evolution
of Chad. I don't know.
It was the beginning of the end for my name?
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Okay, well, I was hoping you were going to say yes. What would you change your name to if you could just pick any other name outside of Chad? Do you have a name that you would...
Maybe Ted.
Ted, okay.
Something easy.
All right.
Simple. Keep it simple.
I actually like very basic names. Like, if I ever have a son, I want to name him Billy Bob. Ooh. Like, I think that would be cool. So
I like Billy. I like Billy. I like Buddy.
Yeah.
And names like that. Yeah.
Me too.
Old school. Yeah.
All right. Can you tell us a story about the first time that you felt old?
First time I felt old. Boy. Thanks to all of you these days, those happen all the time. Haley certainly has always done a great job of making me feel old, always. Actually, I'll tell you the very first time. It was, I don't remember when this was, but Rochelle and I, at the end of a week, gotten home, and we were tired, and we crawled into bed at like 9 o'clock or something on like a Friday night. And I think we were probably maybe late 20s, early 30s. Like, we weren't that old. But we crawled into bed at 9 o'clock, and I was smiling, grinning from ear to ear. And I go, there is nowhere else in the world I would rather be than right here. I was so tired. And nobody in their late 20s and early 30s goes to bed at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. Like, that's pretty lame. Except for Chris. I know Chris.
She's a little late.
I know Chris likes to go to bed early on a Friday night, but back then that was pretty abnormal. I mean, usually Friday night, 9 o'clock, I'm just ready to go. But that's when I knew that I was officially old, because I was like, I have no FOMO. I'm not missing out on anything. This is where I want to be.
Well,
is that what you were looking for, or did you?
Yeah.
Or were you expecting yet another answer?
No. That was perfect. That was perfect. I think everybody, as you get older, has those moments where they feel old. I mean, it could be simply walking into a bar. And looking around at the clientele and realizing that maybe you don't belong in that bar anymore. Let's see here. If you could get rid of... I don't know why I thought of you on this question. I actually Googled questions. If you could get rid of 1 month out of the year, which and why?
1 month out of the year. It's funny. I tell people this all the time. So one of my favorite months out of the year is my birthday month, which is August. Okay? But I tell people that if my birthday were not in this month, I would get rid of this month, because it is the hottest, one of the most hottest and miserable months of the year. So probably August if it weren't my birthday. But since it's my birthday, we got to keep it. And so then maybe in that case, maybe September, just because September's still really hot. In your mind, you're thinking it should be cool, but in Houston, it rarely ever is. So you're just like, I'm ready for the cool weather. Get rid of September. We'll go from August to October.
I think I'm okay with those months being eliminated, because August and September, like you said, are hot, but also like sports. There's no college football. you know, we're in the kind of the tail end of baseball, but we already know the Astros are going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like every year, so it's like, let's just get October.
Let's get
underway. By then, we have all the good college football matchups. The weather's improving a little bit, and we've got Astros baseball. So
yep, let's get rid of one of them. Yeah,
I like that. So I mentioned a bonus question. I don't even know why. We didn't write it down. So I wanted to ask Chris, if you don't mind, what is the temperature on the thermometer over there?
Where is it? Oh, it's 73.9.
Okay, so the reason I asked you that question, I wanted to get your take on why is it that you have a thermometer on your desk, and what do you do when it gets to a certain level, whether it's above a certain temperature or below?
Here's the deal: it's the thermometer's on my desk because there was a period of time where we were having a lot of challenges regulating the temperature in this office, and honestly, it was always hot.
There was like last summer where it was like 60 degrees in here.
And then we had those days too. But it was either 78 or it was 65, right? Like, and I was like, what is the problem here? So, and I never really knew, because I'm just like, why am I freezing? Why am I hot? And so I bought it so that I would know. And honestly, now I look at it on occasion, but we really don't have any issues. It's been regulated quite well for some time now.
Well, thank you for being our resident weatherman inside the building in floor 7, suite 7, whatever suite number we are.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I think that's it for me. Clearly, Chad did all the talking, so we might have a better sense of what you can comment in below this feature should be called. But thank you very much, Chad. We appreciate all the hard work that you do, and we'll see you next time. Hit like or subscribe or both below. Thank you.
Have a great day.
I belong to you. I belong to you.